Hello and welcome to your GMan Season 15 Division 4H Matches of the Week recap for Week 4 with me, Lord Sigmund, your host. So, this week's games had a few interesting ones, a few not so interesting ones, I'm afraid, but we'll jump straight into it. Our first match here, High Barnet Raiders, Logic 88's Lizardmen versus the Sewer Kings, Cranky Goblins, Skaven. Not been confirmed yet, this one, so we don't have any skill ups from it visible, but we can have a look at the game. So, the Lizards chose to receive. I'm not sure, I've just not noticed before if it's new, but the Lizards have the Elf Terrain pitch to protect their skinks from Go For It fails. But the first half is not very good for the Skaven, I'm afraid. It's a litany of failed Skaven dodges. Some of them could have possibly been mitigated. The first turn, Lizard pickup fails, but the Skaven failed to capitalise on that by choosing to dodge a lineman off the line of scrimmage away from a diving tackle skink before moving any of their gutter runners through the hole that a blitz had opened in the Lizardman defence. Again, on their second turn, they do the same lineman dodge away from the diving tackle skink. They're not punished this time, but then they fail a subsequent lineman dodge away from the Croxiger with the prehensile tail. This means that in the first two turns, not very much movement from the Skaven, and crucially, the blitzers and the gutter runners have barely moved from where their stop positions. The gutter runners haven't moved at all. Not really capitalising on their turns, unfortunately. They learn the lesson a bit on turn 3, and they only dodge away from the Croxiger as a final action in the turn. But that diving tackle skink is on a roll and gets a knockout from diving tackle at the end of turn 4. On turn 5, there's a Skaven turnover by doing a second action failed dodge away from the Croxiger by a gutter runner. Meanwhile, the Lizardmen spend the entire half marching the ball down the pitch in a cage, but crucially leave a corner undefended on turn 7, and the Skaven manage to sack the ball carrier. The Lizards fail to hand off after picking it back up on turn 8, and the first half ends 0-0. Just to rub it in the Skaven face, the Lizards get a perfect defence in the second half, but the Skaven manage to do their runny thing and they get a 2-turn touchdown regardless. In response, the Skaven get a perfect defence themselves on the next drive, and that diving tackle skink continues to rack up a body count, getting a removal this time from diving tackle on turn 12, badly hurting a gutter runner. The Lizards get the touchdown to equalise on turn 13, ending the drive with 4 rat casualties, leaving them 8 players versus 11 Lizards to try and win in 3 remaining turns. But just to rub it in, the Lizards get another perfect defence, and that scuppers the Skaven team's chances. The Lizards steal the ball and score the winning touchdown on turn 16. Just looking at the statistics though, we have... where does it? Here's the dice rolls. If we look at the High Barnet Raiders, they have 3 successful dodges and 0 failures, and the Sewer Kings have 19 successful dodges and 12 failures, including 3 diving tackle failures further down. Not very good dodging rolls for the Skaven. They had really bad luck with those dodges, I'm afraid, and it didn't help them, and they ended up with the 2-1 loss to the High Barnet Raiders. This was a correct prediction from me. I thought the High Barnet Raiders are on a bit of a roll. They're doing very well. So next on we've got Pylon's Highwayman High Elf team versus King Kill's Apocalypse of Death Chaos team. A 3-0 win to the Chaos team, and I'm afraid the High Elves suffered another drubbing just like they did last week. Absolutely brutal game for them. Not helped by the fact the Chaos team is absolutely stacked with Claw and Mighty Blow. Yeah, the Chaos walked away from this game with 31 SPP. not looking good for the next people who have to face them. I've got a sneaky feeling this Chaos team is going to be an absolute meat grinder by the time the season ends. And 75% ball possession on there. So the High Elves chose to kick, and the Chaos get 4 casualties and a knockout in the first 3 turns by basing up with Mighty Blow players. And then the High Elves top that off by contributing and kill their own lineman on a failed block on turn 3. Another 2 casualties for the Chaos on turns 4 and 5 leads the High Elves to giving up for the drive, and they pass through their turns 4 and 5. The Chaos score on turn 6 after removing 8 elves from the pitch. The 1 knockout wakes up and the elves have 4 elves left to set up on their turn 6. They get the smallest amount of revenge by getting a casualty in return on turn 7. Wild Animal stops the Chaos from stealing the ball as they try to blitz with the Minotaur. So the 4 elves remaining manage to score on turn 8. And the half ends 1-0. No, the Hives don't. Sorry, the Hives don't score, but the Chaos obviously failed to get a second touchdown in the first half. Sorry about that. The start of the second half, a pitch invasion stuns 2 of the remaining elves at the start of their drive, and 2 failed go for it stun the ball carrying blitzer as they make a desperate attempt to score. And the High Elves just pass through the rest of their turns, and the Chaos score on turn 12, leaving the High Elves lying on the floor. On the last drive, the Chaos get another casualty and a knockout, and score on turn 16 with only 2 elves left on the pitch. I predicted this one correctly, but it's really bad luck for their Highwaymen here. They've suffered 2 terrible games in a row, and next week they're up against Logic 88's High Barnet Raiders, are also on a bit of a roll, so I don't see their condition improving, unfortunately. So next up is the Swedish Forest Wolves versus the Glorious Warriors, Necromantics versus Orcs team, Gimlick versus Masisali. The Orcs chose to receive and immediately have one of their rookie blitzers killed by a thrown rock. Terrible start for them. They try to push down a flank, but run into a wall of necromantic players, and the star player on this necromantic team is their wolf Grey. This werewolf is an absolute menace. Claw, mighty blow, piling on, and in this game it skills up and gets block as well. Just ready for our game next week, so I'm looking forward to facing this one. But absolute menace, and Gimlick blitzes with it basically every single turn, and racks up the casualties and the removals as the game goes on. They proceed to claw upon them off the pitch and steal the ball. The Necromantics score on turn 8 with 1 orc left on the pitch. That's 2 casualties, including the rock thrown at the start of the game, and 7 knockouts. Oh no, sorry, it was 2 casualties joining the dead orc from the start of the game, and 7 knockouts, meaning 10 players off the pitch total, and 1 orc left. 3 orcs wake up, so they set up to defend in the second half with 4 orcs and a goblin, but they don't account for a possible quick snap setting up the non-line of scrimmage players 1 space away from the line of scrimmage, and the Necromantics get a quick snap, piling in and getting a lot of blocks. The claw, that terrible wolf, gets a casualty on another orc before they score again on turn 13. Luckily for the Orcs, another 3 wake up and they have 7 players for their drive to try and score in the remaining 4 turns, and this luck is compounded when they manage to remove the Mighty Blow Wolf from the pitch on turn 14. Without that wolf around, there's no real opposition for them to score. A sidestep from a failed blitz and 2 go for it sees the Goblin ball carrier score on turn 15, and the game ends 2-1 to the Necromantics. After that, they get a turn 16 vanity pass on their ghoul as well. Still puts it only at 5 SPP. That ghoul's been around for many games and a bit neglected on all fronts, really. I correctly predicted this one too. It was a pretty one-sided win for the Necromantics. Next up we have Oaxter's Jurassic Sparks versus the Lovely Fools Patchy Pack Necromantics. As they did last week, the Lizards induce Silly Billy and choose to receive. They pick up a ball on a skink and cage it up with the other skinks in the middle of their own half, while the Necromantics, in a repeat of the previous match, proceed to remove lizards from the pitch almost every turn. Silly Billy, 2 Sauruses and a skink are gone in the first 4 turns. Then the ball carrier fails a dodge and the Necromantics retrieve the ball and score on turn 7, injuring another skink in the process. The Lizards lose another skink on turn 8 when it gets sent off for unsuccessfully fouling a Flesh Golem. Possibly not the wisest of choices there. So this leaves them 7 players, including 2 skinks for the second half defence. They don't offer much resistance, and the Necromantics score again on turn 16, removing the other 2 skinks on their way. I predicted this one correctly. This Patchy Pack is an absolute menace, terrible team to face. Again, killer werewolf, and after firing their werewolf who got to 51 SVP and all normal rolls last game, they've hired a new werewolf called correctly spelled name, and it's immediately leveled up on its first game for the team. Next up was my game versus Chaos Black Nightmares, Michaelis' Chaos team. So the Chaos had 150,000 for inducements and chose to induce Lewd Grip, a star player I've never seen before, but it's a bull carrying Beastman equivalent without horns. It's got tentacles and sure hands and pass and strong arm, I think. Good choice, because last week their star ball carrier was missing next game, so they needed someone to pick up and carry the ball. I chose to kick and got a rock to my thrower's face for my trouble. Thankfully it was only a stun, so it wasn't out. The Chaos attack down one flank and get the ball into the elf half, but a sack on the ball carrier causes the ball to scatter into midfield, where the elves retrieve it. A bit of back and forth around the line of scrimmage ensues, but the elves manage to get the ball out and away from the Chaos players with a screen on turn 5 and score on turn 6. The Chaos are unable to equalise in the first half, unfortunately. The second half starts with both teams having 11 players, but the Chaos get a perfect defence, lining up against the planned attack by the elves, with the Minotaur facing the line of scrimmage. We managed to dodge away and attack the other flank instead on turn 10, and the ball is given to a dodge wrestle catcher with nearby blitzer and catcher support deep into the Chaos half on turn 10. The Chaos do manage to get the blitz on the ball carrier, but roll Skull both down with the Beastman, and I chose to ignore wrestle on the catcher to force the turnover, confident that with the nearby support I'd be able to retrieve the ball if it scattered favourably. That proves correct and lets me go up 2-0 up on turn 11. On the next Chaos drive, they fumble a pass with Lewd Grip. Unfortunately, a failed dodge first action means that the elves are unable to take advantage of that, and Chaos make a deep dive into the elf half on turn 13 with plenty of support for their ball carrier, as seen here. With a lot of luck, dodges and favourable scatters, we've managed to position to be able to sack the ball. The guard blitzer at the top comes around the bottom, supported by one of the catchers, and then the movement catcher at the bottom pushes, or blocks and knocks over the Mighty Blow warrior at the bottom, so that the thrower can come round and mark the Beastman next to the ball carrier. Then the agility blitzer runs through the gap that's created and gets a 1 dice block on the ball carrying Beastman. A power dodge means that the ball carrier's knocked over and the ball scatters off the side of the pitch and back into the middle, where the kick lineman manages to come down, making a 3+2+ dodge to retrieve the ball at the bottom. With the Chaos fail the sack in response, and the Elves manage to cage the ball up with the blitzer on the line of scrimmage on the left hand side and escape for a third touchdown on turn 16. I predicted this one correctly. We managed to pull it off with minimal injury as well, thankfully. We are missing our bench though for the next week, which is possibly not great against the necromantic team we're facing. We managed to get vanity passes and some good level ups on here as well. And you can see this SPP. The Chaos did get quite a few casualties, but thankfully they were all non-permanent ones. Yeah. But the Elves walked away with 17, and the Chaos walked away with 15. Next up we have the Cthulhu Collects Wild Beast Orc team versus Maiden Maniacs Black Creek Buccaneers Dark Elves. Again, a successful prediction for me. The Wild Beast got a little bit unlucky with a couple of the actions that happened in this game though. The Orcs induce a wizard and a bribe to start off with. The Dark Elves choose to receive, and a high kick gives them the ball straight away. The Orcs successfully use that bribe on turn 2 after almost killing the Dark Elf Star Witch Elf on a foul. Unfortunately for them, the Dark Elf Apothecary saved her as a no casualty. The Dark Elves run the ball through the Orc line in response on the runner with two blitzers for support to pass with for dump off. You can see the ball carrier runner is there through the Orc team, and there's some blitzers around. There's plenty of Orcs around to pressure, but they're leaning on dump off a bit to send it to one of these blitzers. The Orcs successfully sack the runner with a Black Orc. Dump off fails, but in what I can only think is a misclick, the sacking Black Orc there steps into the spot with the ball on it and fails the 5+ pickup. So there's the blitz after the failed block, after the failed dump off, and then the Black Orc steps into the space with the ball, failing the pickup. The Dark Elves capitalise on that, manage to get the ball back as a result, but the Orcs use the wizard to get the ball carrier and successfully sack it again. It's not enough though, as the Dark Elves get the ball back and score on turn 6. The Orcs aren't able to manage anything else in the first half, unfortunately, except getting their dirty player sent off on a failed foul on turn 7. At the start of the second half, tragedy strikes the Orcs. After their blitz and line of scrimmage blocks, they move to select their thrower to pick up the ball and accidentally click the pass turn button with no one marking the ball. Very unfortunate, and the Dark Elves use the opportunity to swarm into the Orc half, picking up the ball with a blitzer with 2 go for it. The Orcs get the ball back, but the Elves manage to mark someone up at the ball carrier with 2 players, and when the Orc tries and fails to dodge the ball carrier away in turn 11, the Dark Elves jump on it and go 2-0 up on turn 13. The rest of the game's uneventful, with an Orc cage against an 11-man Elf screen. And unfortunately, you can see Tasmanian Devil died this game, but also got the MVP. Last up we have Massacre's Empress Chosen's human team versus Zoomnig's Ulfraganger's Norse team. 1-1 draw this one. The Norse induce a wizard and choose to receive, but the humans get a perfect defense, which they use to reposition down the flank of the ball's landing. The Norse get the ball and make a screen along the line of scrimmage, but the human team's fast and manage to get through to sack the ball carrier and steal the ball on their turn and score a touchdown on turn 3. In a repeat, the humans then get a second perfect defense and reposition in exactly the same way. The Norse learned their game lesson though and protect the ball carrier a lot better, so the humans are only able to mark it, not sack it this time. They take that opportunity to send the ball down the other side, where the humans are remove themselves from, leaving most of the human team behind in the Norse half. The humans make a valiant attempt to relocate and defend, but the Norse are able to push through and equalise on turn 8. A relatively bloodless game, both teams set up with 11 men for the second half. The humans make a drive into the opponent half on turn 12, but are stopped by the Norse, who use the Wizard's Lightning Bolt to zap the ball carrier, retrieve the ball and take it back down to the human half on turn 13. So they have some support there, but the humans manage to run back and reposition to defend. The middle blitzer, the middle blitzer marks the bottom lineman. The agility movement up lineman marks the top Norse lineman, and the guard tackle blitzer runs down from the other half to sack the ball carrier. Even though the Norse are able to get the ball back again, a series of turnovers from failed dodges stop them from being able to score the winning touchdown, ending the game in a draw. Incorrect prediction this one. I never predict draws, but I did say it might be a close one, so I'm going to count that as a slight win. So it's a great week for predictions. Apart from that draw, I got all of them correct. Let's have a look at the standings table. So, having a bit of a look, I'm still at top with four wins, but I've got a sneaky feeling that Gimlick Swedish Forest Wolves, who are in third place, are going to put pay to that next week. We have the two necromantic teams, both at 3-1 and 0, in second and third place respectively. Then Maiden Maniacs Dark Elves coming up like a rocket from their unfortunate start. I'm predicting them to be 3-2-0 after week 5. Then a Logic 88's High Barnet Raiders. Actually, these should be up with the two necromantic teams, but the game's still not been confirmed. They should be 3-1 and 0 as well. Then we have the middle of the table with the Massacre's Human Team, Kinkill's Chaos Team at 2-1 and 1 and 2-0-2 respectively. Then getting into the negative records, we have Zoomnig's Norse, Waxter's Lizard Men, both at 1-1 and 2. The Sewer Kings and the High Elves, both at 1-0 and 3. Gory's Warriors and Case Black Nightmares at 0-1 and 3. And then the Wild Beasts at 0-0-4 bring up the bottom. So let's have a look at the teams. The Patchy Pack, the scarier of the two necromantic teams, I think. The 52 SPP Werewolf, Another Very Good Boy, got fired before the match this week, presumably because they rolled all normal skills. They got replaced by this one, correctly Spleed Nkmi, which managed to get 2 touchdowns and the MVP this week and picked up block as a result, well on its way to being developed. No injuries for these guys either. Impending level ups are Stein the Wolf Trainer, who's 1 skill point away from 31, and I imagine the rest is all going to go into the second Wolf to get it back up to where where the one it replaced was. Like the other necromantic team in the division, we have a very neglected ghoul here. Next we have Michaelis' Case Black Nightmares. Kairos the Slasher picks up block from a casualty and no permanent injuries from this week. We're still looking for another casualty for Lector the Blind One to get up to 51. I think that's the next target for levelling up. Next we have the Black Creek Buccaneers, Maiden Maniacs Dark Elves. First mate Rias, the Rookie Witch Elf, picks up Wrestle from a successful pass, and Rigger Carrion, that dodge runner, rolled double 6 and got plus strength off a touchdown and a pass this game. Mate Bethnal is out for the next game. one of the linemen dodge, one of these dodge wrestle linemen for leveling up. I think we're going to be looking for more skills on the new witch elf there. Next we've got Zooming Zulfragangers. No skill ups this week, but their star Pylon Mighty Blow Tackle Berserker Snore the Store gets minus strength and got fired as a result. So that guy's going to need replacing as soon as possible. Don't think they've quite got the gold for it just yet. Then we've got Logic 88's High Barnet Raiders. Game's not been confirmed, like I mentioned before, so the skills haven't been picked, but Tarvitz the Tactical and the line of the first have both skilled up, off a touchdown and MVP respectively. No injuries for them. Next, the Emperor's Chosen's Massacre's Humus team. Hayate, the block catcher, picks up plus movement from the MVP. Bertolf Fleisch, a rookie lineman, has a skill that hasn't been picked yet, but Maya, another rookie lineman, died in the process. Then Cthulhu collects Wobbies. No skill ups for them, and unfortunately, as we mentioned before, Tasmanian Devil, their Mighty Blow Guard Blitzer, got the MVP and died at 26 out of 31 skill points, so not great for them. We've got a Blitzer that's 4 skill points away from leveling here, and throws on 4 out of 6, so those are 2 leveling targets that I see. Then my team, we did well this week. Super Creep, my dodge, guard plus movement blitzer, got a touchdown and a vanity pass to pick up the second plus movement, so I now have a movement 9 blitzer to go with my movement 9 catcher. Diamond Dog, my dodge AG blitzer, got a touchdown to pick up tackle. And this guy, Vipendon Shahareen, got a vanity pass. I was going to give him Dirty Player, especially for my next game, which I think will be useful, but he rolled a double, so I'm not going to turn down guard on a lineman. He really needs dodge to protect him a bit with it, though, I think. Space Oddity, one of my rookie linemen, got picked up minus movement and is out for the next game, so I don't have a bench for my next game. The Jurassic Sparks Oaxter's Lizardmen team. No skillets for them unfortunately this week, and 2 of their rookie skinks died at the hands of Don't Hurt the Good Boy, the Star Wolf and the Patchy Pack, so there's a bit of a space there. With 10 players on the team, they're going to have 1 loner for the next game. Only 4 skinks, so possibly a bit more vulnerable than they were before. Agori's Warriors, no skill ups for them either, unfortunately. Their Galclaw, one of their rookie blitzers, died, and Gabfak, this rookie lineman, got minus strength. Probably not worth keeping him around after that. And Star plus AG guard tackle blitzer Rockclaw is out for the next game as well. Highwayman suffered a bit of a board clearing, but not as many permanents this week as it was last time. They had their kick lineman died, and this dodge guard lineman at the bottom got minus MA. Apart from that, not much else. No skill ups for them, unfortunately. We're still looking for another 2 SPP on the thrower, and another 2 SPP on this blitzer, and 1 SPP on this catcher. So very close to leveling for all of these, but yeah, you probably want some skills on these 2 rookie catchers as well, because they're just a bit of a liability without even dodge. Though possibly wrestle would be a good idea, good shout, considering we don't have any. Yeah, in fact, yeah, I'll probably take wrestle first on at least one of these. Sewer Kings. Again, the game's not been confirmed, so skills not been picked, but they don't have any skill ups, so it doesn't really matter. They're going to be dead. The Dirty Play lineman got niggled in the process though, so that will be reflected once the game's confirmed. The Apocalypse of Death. Beast 1, the Mighty Blow Jump Up Beast, picked up Claw, off a casualty, off the MVP, and Beast 5, the Mighty Blow Beastman, is out for the next game, this guy here. And last but not least, we have the Swedish Forest Wolf Gimlick's team, my opponents for next week. Grey, their star werewolf, the one that's been terrorising this Claw, Mighty Blow, Pom guy, picked up block off a casualty from this week. The Maiden, their rookie white, picks up Mighty Blow from 2 touchdowns and the MVP too. And the sad Grey Wind Ghoul took a vanity pass in the last turn of the game, taking them to 5 skill points. Just 1 short. So, again, Patch, this Flesh Golem is still 2 skill points away. Mr. Cranky is a brand new werewolf, bought to replace the one that died a couple of games ago. And they suffered no permanent injuries. So, good luck for them going in the next game. So let's have a look at the Spikebot statistics. So, this is how the standings look after this week's of games. We've got top scorer, a new entry in the top scorer table, with Beast 4 from Apocalypse of Death entering with 4 to join Another Very Good Boy from the Patchy Pack and Diamond Dog from the Barrows Boyos. Under top blockers, we have a new entry from Gordon Leopold from the Emperor's Chosens with 47 blocks, joining the 2 star werewolves from both the necromantic teams that stay put. And Grey from the Swedish Forest Wolves joins the top 3 for the most violent with 6 casualties. We have a player picked up a second surf in Top Surfer with first mate Rias for the Black Creek Buccaneers going up to 2 and topping the table. And Utitating from the High Bonnet Raiders joins the bottom of the table with his first surf. The top killer, Bosun Bear from the Black Creek Buccaneers, tops the table with an extra kill, going up to 2, and Don't Hurt the Good Boy joins with 1, as well as Cutsworth Swamps from the High Bonnet Raiders at the bottom, also with 1 new kill. And how does that affect the impact players? Well, a bit of switching around. Bosun Bear, who was in the first place last week, drops down to 3rd place with their 40 points. They had 33 last week, joint with Don't Hurt the Good Boy, who goes up to 46. Grey, who goes from 3rd place to 2nd place. Beast Bad, who goes from 5th place to 4th place. And we have a new entry, Gordon Leopold from the Emperor's Chosen with 34 points. Due to the departure of Another Very Good Boy, the Patchy Pack's 2nd werewolf, who was fired this week. So, now we've got some predictions to do. Let's have a look at the schedule for next week. So, the Highwaymen versus the High Bonnet Raiders. I think I'm going to have to give this to the High Bonnet Raiders. The Highwaymen have had 2 bad luck games, 2 pitch clears, and a Logic 88's on a roll with the High Bonnet Raiders at the moment. Next up, the Sewer Kings versus Orgori's Warriors. Yeah, no diving tackle on the Orc team, but Cranky Goblin also seems to have a bit of trouble with cages, and Massive Sally likes to cage up. So I think the Orcs might be able to edge this one, but I think it might be a close one. If the Sewer Kings manage to get the ball before cages form, they might be able to edge it out. The Apocalypse of Death versus Jurassic Sparks. I predict a chaos win here. That Apocalypse of Death team is deadly, and they have the tools to make mincemeat of those lizards. Claw Mighty Blow are going to remove the Sauruses. Might be close, but I think the Chaos are going to win this one. Next up, it's my matchup, Swedish Forest Wolves versus Bowie's Boyos. Not looking forward to this. That Star Wolf on Gimlick's team is scary. If I can get rid of it early, I feel favoured, but otherwise I'm not sure. I'm also giving up a massive chunk of inducements, so I predict that Gimlick will break my win streak here. Next up, Patchy Pack versus the Warbeast. This is a Patchy Pack win. I think it would be an upset if it was otherwise. Just off the record, I can't imagine going other way. I'd love to be surprised though, as the two Necromantics teams are nipping at my heels on the leaderboard. I'd love to see one get knocked down a peg or two. Then the Chaos Black Nightmares versus the Emperor's Chosen. I think Massacre's Emperor's Chosens are going to take it here. Michaelis hasn't had a lot of luck with his Chaos Black Nightmares so far, unfortunately. And lastly, but not least, we've got the Black Creek Buccaneers versus the Ulfragangers. I think this is an easy Dark Elf win. I'm rooting for the Dark Elves, and I'm confident they're going to get another win here. So that was week 4 for Division 4H, and I hope everybody has good games this week. See you next week.